Okay, Paige. Yeah. Okay, take it from the top.
From the top. Hey everybody, my name's Nick and I'm going to be talking about Whispers Estate. Expectations leading up to this trip, I was a little bit more excited, to be honest, because, the first time around I went with some friends. We were kind of amateur ghost hunters, so to speak, and that was really exciting in and of itself, but I was also really excited to kind of go with some people that more knew what they were doing as far as like the craft, and so that's what I was really interested in, is kind of being around people who approached paranormal investigation in a more knowledgeable and professional manner. We met up at Paige's house beforehand to do a little planning, organization of how our night was going to go, sort of a guideline, an outline, do some divination to kind of figure out who would be best where, that sort of thing. I felt that really helped give structure to the night and kind of, I think, make everyone feel a little bit more comfortable in the direction that things were going. Upon getting to Whispers again, stepping into the house, I definitely felt that tightness that I felt the first time, sort of just heaviness around in the air. We kind of set everything up and went over again what we were going to do, who was responsible for what, and everybody was just kind of excited to get going and get the night started. So we did the Three Kings ritual. That Jasmine Ambrosia was down in the basement, and Kat was the middleman on the ground floor. The rest of us were up in the seance room performing the seance, and that was definitely interesting. When we used the spirit box in particular, I felt that this time around, whatever type of entities were talking to us and communicating with us, they seemed to be a little more tight-lipped, a little more like not so willing to communicate with us or give information. A lot of the seance, the spirits seemed to say things like, "Who are these people, Paige?" They remembered Paige. They would say, "Paige, stop her, stop them." Kind of acted like they definitely did not want these new people here, almost as if they knew that these people held some other type of power, perhaps. I'm not sure. Participating in the Three Kings, I had never really done a ritual before, so for me, I was excited and interested to just mostly observe. I did speak some during the seance. I asked some questions and that sort of thing. For me, it was all about observation and just having it as a good learning experience. It was definitely interesting, and even more so after when I listened to the audio of the seance laid over the video of you down in the basement, and sort of how those things, a couple of the things matched up. Mm-hmm. I felt that there was a lot of preparation as far as like, we did some protection things, and there were steps taken to make sure that we weren't just like going in willy-nilly. So almost for the entire time I kept feeling something like just sort of diagonally to my right, and Josh, I believe that was his name, the other gentleman that was with us, he kept looking over his shoulder, and like, I don't know, I just felt like something was there. I just didn't know what exactly. But at the end of the seance, when we were all standing up to exit the seance room, he hit his head on a beam. He's a really, really tall guy, and we all just kind of kept walking. And then once we got downstairs, he told us that as soon as he hit his head, he heard a male voice laughing, and we kind of confirmed, like, yeah, that was none of us. So that was kind of weird to find out. Kind of felt a little bit chaotic, and I'm not sure why. I felt that coming down the stairs, I think everyone was a little worried for you, and we all kind of like, instead of sticking together, we were kind of like all stringing in different directions for just a few moments there. But then once we heard people's voices, heard that you guys were downstairs, you guys were okay, it felt a lot better. After you came upstairs, we all kind of gathered together in the parlor room, just all kind of collected ourselves. It felt like tightness was like leaving, and we were all kind of just coming back down to earth, so to speak. We kind of corroborated stories. Haley showed us a scratch on her left side of their neck, I believe. And I was sitting across from them the whole time. Like, I did not, like, obviously I wouldn't accuse them of doing that, but I would have seen it if they had. But they did have like a scratch this way on their neck. And we kind of talked about what you saw down in the basement, or what you experienced, and what, things that we heard or over the spirit box. There's one thing that stuck out during the seance I forgot to mention, but the whoever we were speaking with remembered me from last time because they used my dead name, and you had said at one point, like, you yelled yelled a curse word, and we later came to find out that was like it matched up with, like, it was when they used my dead name, so that was really interesting. But for the most part, I was just kind of like taking in everyone's stories and experiences. I felt they did a great job keeping a level head, because I'm fine with being in that house as long as there's at least one other person with me. I feel like if I was left alone on any floor of that house, really, I would begin to get uneasy pretty quickly. And they had to be there for 45 minutes by themselves. So, I mean, I would definitely give it a go, but I feel like they did a great job keeping a level head and, like, keeping tabs on us, where we were, as well as, like, listening out for you. The Midnight Man was pretty creepy. I feel like we all got through it without our candles burning out, so that's a plus. And there was just a bunch of, like, heavy tightness as we were going around the house. I don't know, like, I never felt a presence, so to speak. I don't know if he was really there, but I definitely felt something. So the doctor's bedroom, and I don't know why, it just feels so much anger and sadness in there, and fear, probably fear from patients that were in there, maybe even his wife. It just feels really bad. Anytime we would get any kind of communication, whether it was this time around or my first time at Whispers, it just seemed like the entities or spirits, however you want to name them, were very anxious, didn't want us to be there, but also were glad that somebody was there to maybe listen to them. It just felt, I don't know, just a lot of anxiety from them. The first time we had a lot longer time to go through, and so it was a lot more informative as far as the history of the house and the events that took place there and the different owners and things like that. This time was a little more rushed, and he didn't touch on as many events that took place and go into as much detail, but I did think he did a really good job on teaching the history and going over at least the main events. There are a lot of conflicting views from any potential spirits there. It seemed like the majority of them felt that there were perhaps witches in the house and they did not want them there. It always seems to feel like there are just so many spirits there that it's hard to tell who's talking to us, what they want, because it seems like they all want something different. I feel like the general consensus was that they did not appreciate witches being there, and that's perhaps from stereotypes they might have held while living. I would say definitely go in with an open mind. Make sure you're with people who are respectful of the space, respectful of the entities or spirits who once lived there, and just make sure you go in with the attitude that you want to learn and you don't want to cause harm. Thanks for listening, guys.